Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some more Stellaris, shall we? Resuming our guide for complete beginners, and we've got a crazy situation going on where we were attacked accidentally by ourselves from another dimension. So this event needs to play itself out as we also work towards making progress understanding our neighbors and defending against any potential incursions along the borders of our empire, as well as continuing to try and expand if possible. So a lot going on. Now, these folk are receptive, and luckily we have a non-aggression pact with them. So we don't have to worry about them for a little bit. And continue building up. I do feel that we're going to need to increase our fleet presence around Sol and our defenses around Sol in case more stuff comes out of the portal and tries to attack us. I don't know if I believe them that they're not going to attack us, because they already did. So let's just check our planets. Yeah, everything there is fine. We're up at the upper limit on all of our colonized planets for available jobs, so we don't want to build anything at the moment, and we're just going to unpause the game. Now remember, our fleet is missing in action, but they should return very quickly to their home and start repairing. So once this question mark, and they're back, so it'll turn away from a question mark into this status to see that they're moving. So what that means is they were here and they were fighting, and then they ran away, and you kind of don't know, like, well, what happened? And then they appeared over here. They're like, okay, we escaped, we disengaged successfully, and we're really injured, and now we're going to come back to our home and repair. So good. We had a new ruler elected, but it's just Dolores again, so we're just going to say, okay, great. Now, did any debris get left behind from that battle? Usually when there's a fight, there's some debris that gets left behind, but that might not be the case here. Let me see. Let me take a science ship and just see if is there anything... No, I don't really want you to go there. I was just seeing by right-clicking if there is anything to do. There is not. Okay, so you're all the way over here, and you're exploring here. Sorry. Continue surveying. And then actually just automate. That's fine. And we'll speed it up. We're going to wait for this ship to come back.
Construction complete.
Okay, what did we finish building here? A research station. Fine, fine. Good idea. So one thing that's worth mentioning, where is this? This is at the dim system. That's way far away, isn't it? That's where we were over here. Nah, leave it be. One thing that's worth mentioning is, we have a lot of influence. No, I mean, it's not a ton. It's enough to buy a new starbase. But it is always worth considering keeping an amount of influence on standby as a reserve if you need to make a claim, for example. So let's say, this nation down below us started getting frisky, and they were intimating that they were going to fight us. They started insulting us, and we felt like war was imminent. If that were the case, we could spend influence to make a claim on one of their systems. Then, if they engaged in war with us, we could set the terms of the war so that if we won, we would claim and take over any systems that we had a claim on. And to make a claim on a system, you need to spend influence to do that. You can actually go down here on the panel on the left and click on claims, and then you can go around and just pick up a claim on any system that has a its hex is highlighted with a plus symbol. And if you do that, you could see, like, for example, this system is 75, and it scales based on its base cost and its distance. If I go over here, this costs even more. Why does this system cost more to make a claim on? Well, because it's further away, it's more jumps away from our border. The further away from your border, the more expensive, but also it has a colony and a starbase, which add to its value, so you need more influence to make a claim over it. So you might want to save it if you were thinking about getting into a fight, which I'm hoping to avoid that right now. And where are you at? Did you go repair? Here, why don't you go fix yourself up? What's your plan right now? No orders. Here, okay. Go here. But can you... Yeah. So there's a button right here, repair fleet. I'm just going to click that. So they're going to go back here. I thought they were automatically going to jump back. They did not. Alright. Now we have an issue up here with a first contact event. The Space Automata. We have discovered a new life form in Zedron, although calling it a life form may be incorrect. The entities appear to be fully automated mechanical drones built exclusively for some unknown industrial purpose. Observations will continue, but since it's likely that these machines are programmed with defensive protocols, it would be prudent to tread lightly. Keep looking, but use caution. So this is very likely to happen. We'll see, once we discover them, but sometimes you'll get attacked, and we are right now investigating the centaurs here, and we'll just leave that. Sometimes you'll get attacked in a system, and you'll be like, what is that? And you'll start doing first contact, and it'll just be some autonomous, like, mining drone that's just set to defend its area automatically, and so it doesn't really count as another empire, but is just, like, an NPC that you can deal with. You can fight them off, or you can just ignore them, or whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to unpause it. And we finished... yeah, perfect. So we finished this survey of Rurius. It has no planet, but it does have a bunch of minerals. So that's nice. And I'm going to send you over here to survey this system. Remember, we could just claim right here. Build starbase here if this is a good one. And this would serve as a nice choke point for us. But then again, so would this. So we're just going to kind of see how far we can expand out to build our borders. Because we're getting, to the point where we're a little bit boxed in.
System survey complete.
Let me pause this. We have engineering research. Okay. So, what do we want? I'm okay with geothermal fracking. I mean, I don't agree with fracking as a policy normally, but in the game, sure. We could unlock these basic strike craft if we want. And these basically are launched from a mothership. But and it gives you this orbital ring module for planetary defense and a hangar bay for strike craft. So this would allow us to, potentially fortify a little bit better with some small strike craft. But I'm not super interested in that for the moment. Now, we could also make it easier to produce corvettes. We could also build up our army. Remember, our army is what we use to either defend our planets or attack other people on the surface of their planet. But right now, I'm just going to go with getting more minerals so we can build. What else happened? We have borders closed. Diplomatic communications from the Foundation of Thembolia. Where is that? Okay. So, alright, these turkeys have closed their borders. So what that means is this science vessel might not be able to get back to us unless there is a way for them to connect way around here. But it also indicates a little bit of hostility, which is kind of scary. So, what's going on? Where are you at? You're here. Are you fully repaired? Can I, where are my other fleets? Yeah, can I merge these two fleets? Yeah, I'm going to merge these two fleets together. And then there's another fleet here, too. No, that's way up there. And that one's over there. Okay. So now I have this little teeny fleet of just 2 Corvettes sitting there. And I kind of want to keep them there because I don't know what's going to happen with the event. But now I'm getting concerned. Like, what's going on with the foundation of Thembolia? Why are they getting all frisky about closing their borders? It's not unusual to close borders. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to, launch a war on us right now. But let's go ahead and go to contacts. And they have a superior military, which is not great. And they're harming relations with us, which is also not great. So, we can do diplomacy. And we can try to boost our relations. Right now, they're just suspicious with us. But it's going down. And we have embassies, but they say they're spiritualists, but they're militaristic. So this is kind of getting problematic. So one thing you could do, their fleet power is overwhelming compared to ours, which is scary. So we're going to need to boost up our fleet pronto and boost up our defensive position right here at the 2 system, so that coming through is really challenging for them because they can only get to us through this. We could try to claim these systems, but it would be kind of hard to fight them off. So let's first click on our system. It is currently a starport. We can't upgrade it yet. We have a crew quarters, a shipyard, and a trade hub. As far as defensives go, there's no defensive platforms built here, and we're going to need to do that immediately. So I'm going to start building these. We need a bunch of alloys to do this. And we're not in war right now. So that's worth mentioning. But I'm going to go ahead. Do we want to build frigates? So these frigates would be stronger than the corvettes. You could see they have double the hull points. They're definitely slower. They have less evasion. And they have less shields. But they might be better than the corvettes for defending. That's a possibility. Right away, I'm just going to go ahead and build a defensive platform. At least one. It provides a tremendous boost to that node right there. And it can be something that we start thinking about just producing more allies. Now we have a bunch of money, so we could buy some alloys if we wanted. Now, honestly, Himpra is actually a better choke point for us fighting them, although it leaves this open. But we could put this here just against them, and we could make a claim on this if they decide to get frisky, but making claims on them right now is kind of challenging. So, because their fleet is so much stronger. We have a couple of options. We can go to contacts, and we could do espionage if we want to, try to send an envoy over here to get information on them. But I think instead, what I'm going to do is send an envoy over to improve relations, because she's just sitting here, and hopefully this will counter their harming relations and delay a war with them long enough for us to kind of build up. It's pretty optimistic, but it's something we can do in the meantime. Okay, third fleet fully repaired. Fantastic. Luckily, we don't have to worry about a war on our northern borders because they're cool.
Council agenda ready.
Alright, we got a council agenda. Do we want to do open arms? Yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to go here and we can click give and take to help with our factions, but I mean, this is fine. We can just start working towards it. Our factions are pretty happy with this. If we go to the government tab and go to factions, we have 100% approval. They're giving us plenty of support, but we do need to be careful here. Okay. We're up with more on this event, and we now need to, as we saw before, make a decision about what to do next. So it says a summit of the top minds from every field gathered on United Nations of Earth to discuss the fate of our dimensional twins. Harsh and difficult debates were had throughout Earth. Some suggested a hands-off approach. Studying the end of a universe could be very insightful. There was talk about granting Salma Sassini Beta's request to evacuate as much of the planet as possible, while some mentioned how easy it would be to take whatever precious resources and energy stores the planet had left. Just as the summit was winding down, Salma took center stage and declared that she believed that using the new technologies brought from the Beta universe, there was a chance to bring the entirety of Earth's Beta into our reality. So, this is how Stellaris unfolds. You have your own plan for what you want to do, how you want to play your game. And then you get information and input from your neighbors and from the random events that happen through anomalies, research sites, archaeological sites, random things like this that also shape your story and define your game and keep things, being different each time. So, if you've played a bunch of Stellaris, you will start to see some of the events recycle. Now, if you get a bunch of DLCs, I think you can mitigate that somewhat because you'll have a bigger pool of random events and things that can happen. But I've never personally seen this event, and so I'm reacting to it for the first time, which is nice for this guide because it's kind of like, well, what do you do as a new player when something like this happens? Another thing I want to say about events is I'm pretty sure that this is how it works, but if you are a Stellaris vet and you know differently, please let me know. There is no fixed outcome for most of these, that like whatever choice you take opens up something where there's like some dice rolling behind the scenes, and it can lead to an optimal outcome or a poor outcome. And I don't know how much transparency there is there, but it's not always the same. So it's at least as far as I understand it, it's not always, most of the time, like you do this and this happens, that you pick this and then there is a bit of randomness that kind of determines the outcome. So for example, this one, if we try to bring the other Earth into our galaxy from one dimension to the next, the upshot would be we just get a whole nother planet filled with people. So we'd have, all of the resources and everything from that. But this says, start a difficult project to save Earth Beta. And I don't know if it's, necessarily always going to come to a good result where like you get the planet as long as you put in the time and do it. I believe that there might be a chance that it doesn't work, or that it does. And that the idea that it's telling me it's difficult tells me, sometimes there are dice rolls where it's like you got a 10% shot or 20% shot, or other times it's much more favorable. But again, I'm not entirely sure. I've never seen this event. So we have to make a choice. Do we want to study the event and get a bunch of physics research, but it starts a situation, plight of the Beta universe. They all start plight of the Beta universe, this situation. But what we do here is going to influence how that situation plays out. We can loot them, and you get a ton of resources. Or we could do what I'm going to choose, which is save as many as possible. Now, this adds 6 humans Beta to Earth. This is actually bad for us because we'll have a refugee situation. we have a surplus population on the Earth, and we're going to need to send people away and resettle them on another planet because there's just too many people. We don't have enough housing on Earth. We can't build up Earth anymore. It's fully developed. So we'll get, beta humans. And it's nice. We'll have 6 extra people. But you have to imagine that there's some other consequences to this. Number one, they might not be politically aligned with us. And so the 6 pops might make their own political faction that doesn't really vibe with what we've got going, and they cause dissent or something like that. But there's not that many of them. Like, our population is currently 49, so you're talking 15 or so percent of the, pop would be these people. So it would be a pretty stark minority, so we wouldn't have to worry too much about appeasing them. But if they got more people on their side, well, that could be a problem. There's also the possibility that these people turn on us, and that they're wholly bad, or, we don't know. But here are our choices, right? So what are we going to do? I don't want to loot them. That seems insane. Short term, very good. Horrible for them. Study the event is pretty, brutal. Let's just watch you die. But you get a lot of science. This is like the most optimistic, far-reaching, like, let's try to save their whole planet business. But it seems just too much of a stretch. So I'm just going to save as many as possible. And that's my decision. And now immediately, it says right here, the following situations are brewing. And you can see that there's progress on this. If I click on it, look at this. Holy smokes. This has appeared in the situation log. This is where all of our stuff is. You can see where, we have our envoys communicating with the other aliens around us that we're trying to learn their language. We still have our precursor chain going. And then we have this negative mass business, but we've kind of figured out what's going on there. So let's look at this window here. It says, we've been confronted with a terrible situation inside the beta universe and must now decide if we're to stand aside or assist them. So currently, all of our research is being drained because we're kind of focusing on this, I believe. And there's a finisher effect, which says, having done everything we can, all we can do is wait and see if we've managed to stabilize the rift enough to bring Earth Beta into our universe. Now, I thought I chose the third option. Did I? Maybe it thinks I clicked the other option. I thought I just said save as many as possible. Well, maybe I misclicked. We'll see how this plays out. Scary. Okay, so the borders are closed. We finished repairing. Now this gives us a chance to kind of go out and discuss what's going on here. Them closing the borders isn't, entirely surprising. But it means we need to escalate our fleet. We got the influence here. We have a bunch of influence. So we can go ahead and start claiming stuff if we want, which is not a bad idea. Like, we might want to put a starbase there, for example, and start collecting the minerals and trade route value and the energy credits. We could also put a claim here if they go to war with us, if they start really getting aggressive. You want to try to place the claims before they declare war because they're cheaper, and before, obviously, you set your conditions for the war, like what kind of a war you're trying to have and what you get if you win. But right now what we want are alloys to make ships. We talked about this, and we'll probably get into redesigning our ships in a moment. But if I go to the fleet manager and I go to, the ship designer, you can see that we have now these different classes of ships. Now, we could outfit our defensive platforms and make them even better if we wanted. Make them stronger. We could put in these reactor boosters, but that's really the only thing we have, are these reactor boosters. And we could change, deflectors for armor if we wanted, but right now they're fine. We could change red lasers into mass drivers if we wanted to have some mass drivers on here instead of lasers. But this gets into the idea of we can start optimizing our ships a little bit. So there's a lot of, conversation in the community about what auto design and auto generate does for your ships and how bad it is. And really, I think early game, the way I understand it, is what matters the most isn't necessarily even what class of ship you have, but the numbers of ships that you have and the technology of your weaponry. Like, what we're trying to do, if we want to outfight this empire below us, the foundation of Thembolia, they have vastly superior fleet. So we need to catch up. And by building more numbers and getting to our naval capacity, that'll do some of that. By building defensive platforms, that'll certainly help us defend this node. But if we can finish, let me go to our research. This one right here is the big one, naval capacity. If we do this, if we finish this, and we can basically more than double the amount of fleet that we can have, that'll help out our Navy tremendously. And even with just a bunch of corvettes, if we have the numbers and we're defending, we should be okay. But we'll see. We put everything on this system, and we have this starbase upgraded with full defensive turrets to go with us. You can see that right now our fleet is contributing 489 military power, and the starbase has 947. So if we can massively boost this, that will be very, very helpful. Now, this fleet over here, I'm actually going to move them down here. I don't believe that I need defense on the northern border at the moment as much as I need to have some presence down here. So that's my thought process, but we have a lot to do. And we have this massive situation. Okay, so it's going to keep progressing, and it'll be changed in 1 month, and an outcome will be reached in 19 months. Oh, look at this. They opened their borders. Thembolia did. Okay. Well, good. Good. So now we don't maybe have to worry, at least currently, as much about warfare. They've opened their borders back up, and let's talk about this a little bit. Let's go to contacts. And I kind of went through this really quickly when I was just trying to assess them as a threat, but let's just mention, once you get more intelligence on your neighbors, these fields start to fill in. At first, you don't have much information, but now we know how many planets they have. And I'm looking in this left panel here. You could see this is the planet column, so they've got 5. So they have more planets than we do. And they have, this is their relative power, so they're superior. So we got to be eyeballing them. But if you click on them more intensely, by the diplomacy button, for example, and you open up this screen, and you can change to diplomacy or espionage down here. Espionage is a good way to get more information and be disruptive, but I'm not... First of all, we could do this, but this is something that will agitate them, obviously, and, you know, they're superior, so let's not tip the scales too much. Maybe the fact that we sent our advisor over, our envoy, to improve relations has actually... You see how it's... they're wary, but it says last month it changed by plus 20. That has actually tipped them back to where, you know, they aren't feeling as frisky. They're belligerent, and this means they're going to bully us if we're weak. But if we can just boost our strength a little bit, they won't maybe try to bully us, but currently, that's good. Now, the options that we have with them diplomatically will be green check marks if we can do them, like if we can make a defensive pact, for example, but we don't have positive relations, for example, so we can't do this. And, you know, right now, I'm just continuing to improve relations. Now, it might never work out between us. They are militarist and fanatic spiritualists, and they're evangelizing, and they're belligerent, so there's a possibility that they're never going to be our friends. But now you can see there's more information on this screen that's filled in, and it's developed by our intelligence level. So you can see there's this like intel, and it's not very much, but we're getting a little bit. And as this goes in, you see how there's like question marks about their population or about their empire size or about their origins or whatever. These fields will start to fill in once we get more info. These were actually question marks before, but now we know, and it's very good to know, like, oh my god, they have a much better fleet than us. So that's scary. But they've given us some time. Time that we can use to deal with our situation, but also that we can use to bolster our fleet so that if they perceive that we have a strong military, because they can see, just like we can see that screen, they have access to our military strength. So as long as it's not like pathetic, you know, as long as we keep it close to them, then they should be kept in check, hopefully. Hopefully. But we'll see. Okay, so actually, that changes some stuff for me. And you say, well, what does that change? Well, what does that change? It is, now that I know that I don't have to worry immediately about that, I might actually claim this system. Because I don't have to sandbag the influence for a claim. And I'm going to click on... Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. Let me walk it back. Remember how I said the situation, it seems so confusing that it says, like, we'll see if we can stabilize them to bring Earth Beta into our universe, which was confusing me because I was like, I didn't pick that outcome. But maybe that's all. We'll see about that, but we did bring the population through. So we have 50 regular humans and then 6 other dimensional humans, which has created a situation on Earth, as you can see, where we have unemployed pops that will automatically migrate to other planets, which is great. Okay, so you know what? When I was talking to you before, I misremembered in my mind. We actually have plenty of housing on Earth. We just didn't have enough jobs on Earth. So that's actually a huge boost, because having homeless people is much worse than having some unemployed people. And they're going to migrate, and we're not going to resettle, because the policy, we'd have to change our policy on resettling. Resettling is like, we force people to leave this planet. We like say the government says half of you have to go over to this other world, and people don't like that. So this situation is like, they just understand the job market is shut here. And this is, I think, a new addition in maybe the past couple of years in updates of Stellaris, where you can get to this situation where you just can't provide enough jobs. But actually, I do have a building slot available. So I can provide enough jobs because we built, I think the last thing we maybe built was a city district. Wait a minute, do we have 2 free district slots? You know what? I completely had Earth wrong in my mind. I thought we had totally maxed out Earth, and that this was going to be a big problem to get these other 6 pop, but I must be thinking of another game. I have another game I'm playing of Stellaris, and my home world is, we actually have 2 free districts and an empty building slot. So it's much better than I thought. Well, now let's take advantage of this. We can build a bunch of stuff, and here's what I want to build. Let's look. I want more alloys. I know I do. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to make an alloy foundry. We have a pretty good production of minerals. I want alloys. We need alloys right now because we're trying to boost our fleet. Okay, great. Alloys coming in. And the situation seemed to work out the way that I wanted. Let me push tab. Let me go to some of these other worlds. 3 unemployed is decent. This is our agricultural world, I guess is what it's been deemed. Well, I mean, I guess I could get more food, but this world we could switch. So the game will automatically register the world and specialize it based on what you're building sometimes, but you could change that. So like if we don't like it, we can change it. And I think actually I might want to make it an industrial world. I mean, look at how many industrial district slots we have. I'm going to click on this right here where it says auto-designated, and I'm just going to make this an industrial world, and I'm going to build another industrial district. This is a forge world where we're making more alloys, and I'm going to do it again. I mean, you know what? I can't. I wanted to, but we have to build a holo theater to deal with our amenities. It's fine. Okay, great. Perfect. So we're trying to explore up here, and we want to settle here. I'm going to take a construction ship here, and I am going to just build a starbase right here, because getting all of these, bringing those in is good. These, Thembolia decided to be a little bit less outwardly hostile by opening their borders back up, and we've got a major situation going on here on Earth, and we get to see it play out as we continue to expand. So everyone, there's a lot of new stuff that's happening, coming at us, and we're changing, and this is kind of how you play. You know, you evolve based on what's going on, and you change your priorities, and you can always go back and just kind of reevaluate and see where you're at, see where your bottlenecks are, and continue to grow and expand. I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun. I know I'm really excited to see what ends up happening as this situation resolves, we explore up here, and we build up our navy. We're going to get into making our own custom ships and stuff once we get the naval capacity researched and can start building a bunch more ships, and that becomes the smart thing to do. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Take care.